Hello, friends. Hope you are enjoying the Alec Award winner novel, The Mysterious Call, in voice of the protagonist, Richard Carlsen. Here I present the next chapter of this thriller story. And as always, before starting, a small request. Please do like and share this video and do subscribe my channel if not done yet. So, without further ado, let's start the novel. The Mysterious Call.
The plot thickens. Alex and I headed back to London. It was a good sunny day, and the drive back was a pleasure. Alex stopped for refueling, and we both had a quick bite. Then we started back. Alex said, while driving on the main carriageway. "This is quite complex. Don't flinch, dear. I can see it clearly now." "What? Then can you show me your vision too? Great Carlsen," Alex said mockingly. "It is simple and crystal clear, my friend," I said, while lighting my favorite Havana cigar and getting intoxicated by the puff. My monologue started. This story begins in 1977 when London Mafia had two main groups, one led by Sam Ross and the other by Henry Walter. Both were in constant one-upmanship. However, Sam Ross got the upper hand when he managed to get Alpha Combat from the Czechs. That was selling like hotcakes in the market, and it was so craftily marketed that everyone wanted to have that beauty of a pistol. So, in 1977 or around, Sam Ross became the clear leader. Alex intervened. "Yes, kind of," I said. "Okay," Alex nodded. He was attempting to learn the complex puzzle. So, for the next year or so until 1979, Sam Ross was the clear leader, and maybe was getting closer to that third mysterious person. "The real Mafia kingpin," I said. "Okay," Alex nodded. But this was the time when Sarah Walter met Lakshmi Trust, and she came to know about the research she was working on. Sarah told this to her father. Henry Walter then, with the help of Lakshmi Trust, started camouflaging drugs as powdered sugar. But they needed someone who has an established distribution channel. "This is where Johnson Allen was required," Alex said. "Yes. Johnson Allen was on the verge of bankruptcy. He needed help. Henry Walter and he joined hands. Walter grew in stature," I added. "At that time, Sam Ross, with the help of Watson, killed Henry Walter," Alex said. "Yes, maybe Sam Ross was closer to Andrew Carlsen, whose help Johnson Allen took to send goods. Andrew Carlsen squealed to Sam Ross, who with the help of Watson ensured Walter was silenced," I explained. "This is how Sam Ross became the ultimate mafia lord," Alex added. "Yes. However, one thing is not clear, whether it was Sarah Walter who was the informer, or if it was Lisa Ross. Why was Lisa Ross there in that bungalow that day? Why was she in touch with Watson?" I said. "Do you think Watson was that third person, the kingpin?" Alex questioned. "I believe Watson may be involved, and maybe his wife also knew about it, but I doubt whether Watson could be that third person," I said. "Why?" "Because if Watson was the kingpin, he would not be involved in such day-to-day activities. It was extremely risky for a mafia lord to expose himself to such things." "Seems counterintuitive," I said. "This means there is someone else. Some extremely powerful cop," Alex said. "Or some lady," I said. "Lady?" Alex questioned. "Maybe the lady whose body we found," I said. "But if she was the kingpin, the super boss, who killed her?" Alex asked. "That's where I am stuck," I said. "What about Watson then?" Alex questioned. "Watson would work for both Sam Ross and Henry Walter. He was agnostic. Whoever paid him more was his man. Maybe he got more money from Ross, or maybe that superboss forced Watson, and he killed Walter." "So, if I have understood you right, by 1978 to 79, Sam Ross was leading the show when Henry Walter's daughter met Professor Lakshmi Trust. She told her father, and he abducted Lakshmi Trust, forced her, and then, with the help of Johnson Allen, became successful and powerful by selling drugs. Obviously, the drug market would fetch more than Alpha Combat. In no time, Henry Walter became the obvious leader. At that time, Andrew Carlsen and Sam Ross planned to kill Walter and, with the help of Watson, did it, Sam Ross then took over the drugs mafia too and became super powerful. Alex repeated what we discussed. Yes, but even Sam Ross had not been seen in the past 2 years by people. He was operating from a hideout. It seemed, from what Godfrey, the university student director, said, that even Lisa Ross was not meeting him regularly, I added. But Miss Watson helped you identify Watson meeting Lisa Ross. Why would she do that if she was involved? Alex questioned. That is true. It is confusing me. But when I deliberately told that I am going to Allen Manufacturing, you see, VJ was there at night and he cleaned the factory, I said. But still could not mislead the great Carlsen. Alex said, ha ha ha, thanks. I deliberately told Emily because I knew that the news would get to Miss Taylor and through her to Watson, and that's why VJ, the manager, seemed prepared as if he was expecting us. But you met Lisa at that bungalow. You think that Sam Ross is so cruel that he would harm his own daughter? Alex questioned. That is a puzzle which I am not able to solve. Lisa called me at that bungalow. She was the informer of Forbes and was in touch with Watson. However, when Lisa saw Watson with me, she got confused and closed the door. But why would she not tell you then and there everything? Maybe she thought that I am with Watson, I conjectured. Or maybe she thought you would come with a police team, and when she saw only you two were there, she got circumspect. That may be right, Alex. I guess that was the reason why she closed the door in a jiffy. Alex and I were discussing the case and slowly discussed all the angles once again. After some time, to give Alex some rest, I took over the driving. He slept for a while. We drove almost non-stop, except at a petrol bunk for refueling and getting a quick bite. We reached London by nightfall of that Friday night. It was late at night, and we reached home. I was greeted by Emily. Alex left so that he could also get some sleep after a grueling day. It was an extremely tiring day for you. How was it in Scotland? Emily questioned. She was concerned and prepared something to eat. I saw Miss Taylor also helping Emily in the preparation of the food. I sat at the dining table, and soon a sandwich with red wine was served. Emily and Miss Taylor sat beside me at the table too. Miss Taylor asked in a feeble voice, "Any news of Watson?" "Not yet, Miss Taylor, but I have gathered that he is not in trouble. He is all right," I said. "What? How are you so sure?" Miss Taylor questioned. "I cannot tell you in full detail, but please note that Watson is absolutely okay. He will soon be meeting you," I said assuredly. "Good. If Richard is saying so, please be comforted that Watson is okay," Emily said while holding hands with Miss Taylor. I quickly finished my dinner and was about to retire when Robert called me. He was such a workaholic that he would not end his day until the work was over. Emily picked up the call and handed over the phone to me. "Yes, Robert," I said. "You were right. Watson's fingerprints matched inside the house," Robert said. "Okay, I guess so. Thanks," I said, and ended the call. Emily was standing near me, with Miss Taylor also nearby. "What was Robert saying?" Emily questioned. "Nothing much. Routine," I said. I left the two ladies and went inside the room. I took a quick shower, freshened up, and was about to sleep when Emily slept beside me. "You look extremely troubled. You can share with me," Emily said. "Emily, I am afraid, but Miss Taylor needs to be arrested tomorrow morning." "Are you out of your mind?" Emily said in shock. She stood up and sat on the bed. "Watson was involved in the murder," I said. "Are you serious?" "Watson," Emily replied. She was literally sitting next to me on the bed while I was lying on the bed. "He was working for the mafia." "But how can you be so sure, Richard? Miss Taylor is an extremely emotional person." "I know, but she too inadvertently helped Watson." "But how are you so sure she is helping Watson?" "Emily, only you knew that I'm going to Scotland." "Yes." "Did you share it with anyone?" I asked. "Only with Miss Taylor when we were discussing lunch. I said you wouldn't be coming as you're going to Scotland." "Right. And then when I visited Allen Manufacturing, it was clean as a whistle," I said. "You mean to say Miss Taylor told Watson, and he in turn told someone to clear the manufacturing facility in Scotland?" "Yes, Emily." "But why do you think there is something wrong in Allen Manufacturing?" "I don't think anything is wrong there. Just my premonition." "Come on, Richard. You cannot be arresting people based on your stupid premonitions." Emily said with firmness, and lay down on the bed. That's why I have not arrested her yet. But I don't understand. When you did not find anything in Allen Manufacturing, what is your hypothesis? At present, I am confused, I said. Then, Emily, I am extremely tired, I said, cutting her off. Okay, we will discuss in the morning, Emily said. She kissed me, and we both slept. I was tired and didn't realize when I was in deep slumber. In the morning, I got ready. I found that Emily and Miss Taylor were their usual selves. Emily had not discussed with Miss Taylor. That's what I expected too. I knew Emily would not speak to her. I kissed Emily, said bye to Miss Taylor, and called Alex to my home. Alex and I left the house and went straight to the London City Hospital. The morning was busy in the hospital. Though Nicholas had been well attended, it seemed. There was a doctor and a few nurses tending to him. What I found interesting was that Nicholas had recovered quickly from the deep bullet wound. It had not even been 48 hours since the brutal wound, but it seemed that with the padding and gauges all around his shoulders, he was looking comfortable. Hi, I hope you're doing well, I said to him. Yes, Nicholas said with a neutral voice. He didn't try to escape, even though it was quite possible, as there was hardly any security in the hospital, which seemed disturbing to me. I couldn't understand why a serial killer like him would let himself remain in custody. Why was it so? You said that Lisa Ross gave you the contract, I said. Nicholas gave me and Alex a deep look, and he nodded. His facial demeanor indicated that he didn't want to entertain questions on those lines, but I wasn't about to relent. I continued. Take a look at these two pictures and identify Lisa Ross for me. I showed him the pictures of Sarah Walter and Lisa Ross that I obtained from the University of Edinburgh. I was told that Lisa Ross wants you killed. I was contacted by a guy. He got my number from an old client of mine, Nicholas said uninterestingly. Can you describe the guy for me? I said. Alex took out his notebook and pen to note the description. Nicholas went into deep thought and then said, medium height, a scar on his face that looked like a knife wound after healing, neither too fat nor too thin, well built, and neatly dressed. The description matched the second security guard. I understood that the second security guard, whom I encountered, was deeply involved and an important member of that gang. The previous security guard was a novice. When did this person approach you? I queried. Just few hours before I attacked you first at the commissioner office lane, Nicholas said without any remorse. I was making a mental note. That meant just after the escapade at Bungalow, No. 9 that night, the Mafia asked that hoax security guard to meet Nicholas and planned an attack on me. They did not want me to be on this case. Did you receive the full payment? Alex questioned. No, Nicholas said. He got up slowly from the bed and started walking a bit. He was in a separate room, and at present, there were only the three of us. The nurses had left the room. He slowly walked, nursing his damaged shoulder, and limped to the window. He looked outside the second floor at the hustle and bustle of the city. Then how were you supposed to get the payment? Alex continued. Well, I was paid $5,000, and the remaining $15,000 I had to get from someone in Edinburgh, Nicholas said while staring outside the window. So you would go to Scotland to receive the payment? Alex inquired. Well, if I was successful in killing a London police inspector, it would be nigh impossible for me to stay in London. I needed the shelter of Scotland, and thus the arrangement. Things would have gotten too hot to handle here, Nicholas said in a neutral tone. Okay, can you give me the address from where you were supposed to get the payment? I interjected for the first time in the dialogue between the two. 15 Polwarth Crescent, Polwarth, Edinburgh. Nicholas said. I was shocked that Nicholas was so cooperative. I wasn't sure whether it was part of the plan or if he was genuinely helping us. I and Alex left Nicholas in the room and went straight to the doctor. Can we take Nicholas with us? We need to shift him to police custody, I said hurriedly. Officer, it would be too risky. It looks like the wound is not causing any trouble apparently, but the wound is fresh, and I would suggest waiting for at least another 2 days before you decide to move him outside medical supervision, the doctor said. Okay. I nodded and left the doctor's cabin. Alex and I were now out of the London City Hospital. The hustle and bustle of daily life could be seen writ large, and the road outside the hospital was extremely busy, full of life. I looked up at the floor where Nicholas was admitted, though I could see only the hospital building from a glance, and said to Alex, "Alex, beef up the security. Something is telling me Nicholas will escape soon." "Okay, I will tell Lewis immediately," Alex said. I nodded, then took measured steps towards the Astra that was parked nearby. I and Alex got into the car. "Take me to Forbes," I demanded. Soon, Alex and I went to Forbes's office and were sitting in his cabin shortly. "Sir, I need an arrest warrant to arrest Miss Taylor," I said. "What? Are you out of your mind?" Forbes said. "Sir, there is no other way to force Watson." "What do you mean?" "Sir, I have only one lead now, an address. 15 Polwarth Crescent, Polwarth, Edinburgh." "That is out of bounds for us," Forbes said. "I know. That's why someone has clearly chosen that place. They knew that to raid that house, we need permission from Tullyallen Castle," I said. "What is your plan?" Forbes asked. "Sir, twofold. Arrest Miss Taylor and put pressure on Watson to touch base with us." "And?" Forbes said, while lighting a Havana cigar. "Second is that I and Alex will go to this Polwarth address and catch hold of the people there." "That is extremely risky," Forbes said. "I know, but I have no other option." "Okay. I will issue the arrest warrant for Miss Taylor. Hopefully you are not troubling an innocent civilian," Forbes said. "I know, sir, but desperate times require desperate measures," I replied. Forbes nodded and engulfed himself in the cloud of cigar smoke. He, like me, was fond of Havana cigars. I and Alex left the office. Alex had called Louis to collect the warrant and arrest Miss Taylor. Also, Alex had told Lewis to beef up the security of the London City Hospital. "Where to?" Alex asked. "Let's meet Robert one more time," I said. "Okay." Alex nodded. Soon we were at the forensic lab of Robert. We were sitting in his cabin, and Robert was as usual up to the mark. He was a workaholic, and I had never seen a more committed guy. "I had already confirmed to you about Watson," Robert said. "Yes," I nodded. "Now I can confirm about Miss Lakshmi too," Robert said. "What?" I said, surprised. "Yes," Robert said. "Last time it was tentative," I said. "Yes, but now I can with reasonable certainty." "How?" "I found from our database that she was arrested in 1980 and her fingerprints were there." "She was arrested? For what?" I questioned. "For attempting to sell drugs to students." "What?" "But I went to the University of Edinburgh. Nobody told me this," I said. "Well, it was in some school in Livingston," Robert said. "Livingston, Scotland," I said. Robert nodded. I was making some mental notes. Allen Manufacturing Factory, where I met VJ, was also in Livingston. Robert continued, though the police could not confirm whether it was drugs, and finally, the court gave her bail. She might have been trying to test whether drugs could be camouflaged as powdered sugar. I intervened. "I'm not sure about that, but when I cross-checked the fingerprints, now I can say for sure Lakshmi Trust is dead," Robert concluded. "Good. Any other lead?" "Yes." I waited expectantly for Robert to speak. "The Havana cigar butt we got from the house was just a placebo." "I am not sure what that means," I said. "It meant it was a red herring." "Please explain," I said. I am not clear about the convoluted language and its meaning that Robert was alluding to. "Those were kept there to mislead. None of the people smoked." "How are you so sure?" "Because when I looked at the butt carefully, they all were not smoked at that time. They were smoked at least a day or two before the murder." "So what?" Alex asked. "But they were all lying in the living room," Robert said. "Check whether they were these cigars," I said, and gave my Havana cigar packet. "Yes, this brand only," Robert said. I said. "So these were kept to mislead," Alex said. "Or maybe there was a message in this," I said. "Message?" Robert and Alex questioned. "Yes. These cigars are either consumed by me or by Forbes. So is it that Lisa Ross was giving a message. She knew that the police would definitely comb this place and would get these cigar butts. But how does it help? Does it indicate that I or Forbes are involved, or whether it is a message for Forbes or me? I said, though my tone was not convincing. Lisa Ross put these consumed cigar butts of yours in Forbes's brand, Alex said. He was not convinced enough. I am not sure, Alex, just a wild thought, I said. But you may be right. Otherwise, these cigar butts don't make any sense there. The girl had thrown them in the lobby, but for what purpose? To tell the investigating officer that Forbes or I was involved, I said. Or maybe there was someone else who wanted to give you a message, maybe a challenge. I am not sure what you mean, I said. They knew Lisa had called the police station. They might have guessed she had dialed you. So this was a challenge for you, Robert said. Watson knew very well that I consume only this brand of cigar, I said. So maybe Watson is throwing a challenge at you, Alex said. I was unclear. There is one more thing that you should know, Robert said. What? There were 7 people as we got 7 different fingerprints, Robert said. You told me this last time. 2 deceased, 2 security guards, Lisa Ross, Sam Ross, Watson, I said. Only change is that Sam Ross's fingerprints did not match, Robert said. What? Yes, however surprising it may sound, but Sam Ross was not there, Robert said. That is strange, I said. And, Robert was about to say something. You found the fingerprints matching the deceased Henry Walter, I said. Yes, Robert said. Alex was flabbergasted.